Hi, my name is Angus Ho with Daddy Dad, a part of the Ash Management Group. I want to show how you can budget as a full-time engineer, make real estate investments, and live an exceptional family life as a dad. So come along with me in this journey of wealth. One of the questions I get asked most about being an engineer is, what are your tips for being successful? So today, I want to tell you my top 10 tips to be a successful engineer. As an engineer, you need to define your goals. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be a specialist? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Those are all questions you need to ask yourself. What are you good at? And define where you want to be. Engineering is a very multidisciplinary role. For example, for myself, I'm an electrical engineer by training, but I program as my primary work. For example, in my workplace, I program the robot, and what a robot needs to do is that you need to first program it. The program does something electrical, and then the electrical does something mechanical. So, for example, for me to move a robot, I first need to tell a computer to move, then the computer sends a signal to the motors to turn the wheel, and then the wheel does a mechanical motion and starts spinning. This brings me to tip number 1, your big, hairy, audacious goals, or your BHAGs. BHAGs was coined by Jim Collins in the book Built to Last, and that is one of my favorite books. I highly recommend that you read it because this book talks about successful companies, and those companies were successful because they had well-defined BHAGs. The not so successful companies still had goals, but they failed after 100 years because they just had goals and not big, hairy, audacious goals where they dreamt bigger than what was actually a reality, and that's what pushed those companies further and succeeded better. Successful engineering projects don't just happen by chance. You have to go and seek it yourself. Know what your goals are and seek out those projects that fit your goals. Ask your boss if you need to. Take, for example, Apple. They were the first to come out with an iPod that had a touch screen phone. I remember the PDA days where you had a keyboard and a left, right, forward, back button, and it was really hard to scroll through. You know, with those PDAs, it took so much time and so much effort to get a message out, to put a calendar event in. It was time consuming, it was just a product that didn't work. So when the iPod came out, that was a game changer. The iPod had a touch screen where you can quickly enter, navigate, and everything. So I just absolutely love the iPod. No one except for Steve Jobs thought the touch screen was possible, and nothing stopped him from reaching his goal. Having big, hairy, audacious goals takes lots of guts and takes lots of risk because not everyone shares in your goals. And even with big, hairy, audacious goals, not everyone believes in them, and it is up to you to convince other people that your goal will become successful. If you have an idea, don't let anyone stop you. It's your dream, it's your goal. Only you are stopping yourself. Like the great chef Gusteau said in the movie Ratatouille, you must not let anyone define your limits because of where you come from. Your only limit is your soul. As the great Steve Jobs once said, stay hungry, stay foolish. This brings me to tip number 2, continuous professional development. Steve Jobs says stay hungry, stay foolish because you need to continually improve yourself. Some areas of continuous professional development includes finance, project management, and even the environment. Get out there, check out your regulatory group, check up with your friends, your colleagues, your boss to see what kind of continuous professional development things they are doing to keep learning about engineering. Go take classes, go to the university to see what they have to offer. Join a club that complements your engineering skills. I know there is something out there for you. Continue your professional development. One of the things you'll learn as an engineer is that you will start applying the same solution to a different problem. It gets pretty repetitive, so that leads me to tip number 3, improve your soft skills. Your soft skills is so important, like your team skills, your communication skills, your sales skills. Those are all transferable to another job. So is your technical experience, but you'll find out that soon you'll be applying that problem from your previous job to this new job. What your new manager wants to know is, do you have any soft skills? Tip number 4, the customer is king, just like anywhere else, including engineering. There is no point in designing something that the customer don't want. The customer doesn't want to pay for it, the customer doesn't want it, the customer is not going to use it. So don't make something the customer don't want. You may have this great idea of how you want to fix this problem, but if this fix is so complicated and so convoluted that the customer can't use it, then there is no point in building it. Tip number 5, embrace change. Mark Watney from the Red Martian said, the other question I get most frequent is, when I was up there, stranded by myself, did I think I was going to die? Yes, absolutely. And that's one thing you need to know going in, because it's going to happen to you. This is space. It does not cooperate. Engineering is the same thing. It does not cooperate. Once you've implemented your solution and you send it out to the real world just does not cooperate. It will fail. It is up to you to embrace change because it just simply will not cooperate. Small little changes like Windows updates is one example of change. You're one day working on an Excel spreadsheet and thinking, oh, this is easy. But then a Windows update shows up. Oh my god, what do you do? And Windows forces you to install this update, and then after the reboot, all your functionality that you used to love is gone. What do you do? Do you work around it? Do you revert the update? Embrace change. Tip 6, practice makes perfect. Just like the NFL player Tom Brady does, he practices every day. He shows up to the field every day, he does drills every day, and now he's one of the most successful quarterbacks in NFL history. Engineering is the same way. You show up to the office every day, you practice your work every day, and then you become a very successful engineer. Tip number 7, keep solving problems. Engineering will go south on you, just like the great Mark Watney said in the Red Martian. At some point, everything's going to go south on you. Everything's going to go south and you're going to say, this is it. This is how I end. Now you can either accept that or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin. You do the math. You solve one problem, you solve the next one, and then the next. And if you solve enough problems, you get to come home. In engineering, you're guaranteed to get stuck at a problem. Stay optimistic, take breaks, but keep solving problems. When something is working, brag about it. When something is not working, don't let the rumors spread. Tell them how hard you worked on this problem and stay optimistic. One of my favorite tips is tip number 8. Find a role model or a mentor. Do you like Kevin O'Leary? So do I. Do you like Larry Page? So do I. Well, pick someone that you look up to and aspire to, because these people say and do things that you should copy. Look into what kind of destinations do they have. Do they have an MBA? Think about what they say. Are they a good seller? These are all great qualities of what a great engineer can be like. Find a mentor. Go through any of your associations to see if there is a mentor that matches your needs and matches what you want. If the first match is not a good match, don't worry about it. Find another match. Keep finding a match until you find someone that is like you and aspires to where you want to be. The treadmill effect is where a lot of engineers get stuck. And this brings me to tip number 10. Focus on the long term. In the workplace, The boss gives you an assignment, you tackle that right away. Then the boss gives you another assignment, you tackle that one. And then 10 years later, you're still tackling the problems that your boss gives you. Focus on the long term. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Define where you want to be. Don't let the boss define where you should be. If you want to be a CEO, maybe you should ask for assignments where it builds your character to becoming a CEO. Well, that's it. Those are my top 10 tips to becoming a successful engineer. If you like to hear more budgeting, engineering, or real estate tips, please leave a comment for what you want to hear. Smash that like button, subscribe button, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I post new videos every week on Sundays. From the Ash Management Group, this is Daddy Dad, saving you money.